In this video, I'll be taking a look at the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Saitama from One Punch Man. Now, this is a figure I've had for quite some time now, and I am finally getting around to opening them. Now, the box is your standard Amazing Yamaguchi box with the kind of premium feel that they have been doing for many years at this point. I still do kind of miss the older packaging because it was just really fun. But either way, let's get into the figure. Now here's the figure laid out with all of the accessories that were in the packaging. Now he does come with a really good amount of stuff. You do get multiple heads, multiple effects, multiple hands, and the standard Amazing Yamaguchi base. Now you do get a total of 6 extra head sculpts, which are a screaming mouth looking to his left, screaming mouth looking to his right, white-eyed screaming mouth, neutral looking to his left, neutral looking to his right, and a black-eyed neutral head sculpt. The paint on these head sculpts are very nice and clean throughout each of them. They are very well done. And obviously the sculpt is just the same since it is just a bald head, but it is a very nice sculpt. He also comes with 5 extra hands, 3 for his right and 2 for his left. You do get a set of clenched hands, a set of style posed hands, and you do get one right hand with a cool effect sculpted onto it. Now I do wish he came with 2 of the hands with the effect part on it. I get it, he's right-handed, but it is an action figure, so I do wish it came with the one for his left hand, because it is very nicely sculpted. Now to interchange the hand, you do want to just pull on it, then grab the hand you want to interchange it with, and then find the angle of the hole. Sometimes it is at an angle up towards the thumb, but in this case it is just straight. Now it is just a friction fit, so it is easy to put on and off, but once you have it on there, it will not go anywhere. He does have this cool multi-punch effect for his right hand. Now it is nicely sculpted in a translucent yellow plastic with beautiful metallic red paint for the fist. It does really have a nice sculpt. The multi-punch fist effect is really nice. Again, I do wish it came with one for his left hand, but I am happy that he did come with at least one. Now to put this effect on the figure, you do want to grab the clear circle with the peg sticking out, and then at the bottom of the figure there is a hole to plug this thing in. And once you do that, you do want to pop the hand off of the figure, slip the circle onto his wrist, and then port the hand back on. It does get a little finagly, but like with most Amazing Yamaguchi figures, be patient and eventually it will look good. He also does come with the standard Amazing Yamaguchi flight stand. You do get 3 pieces which are all molded in a clear plastic. The base is more of a frosty plastic, while the stick and the clamp are more clear. Now to use it, you do want to just stick it into one of the many holes. In one direction it is 90 degrees, while the other it is 45. And then with the other end, you do want to just port it into the back of the figure. Once you do that, it is nice and secure and is my favorite way to use this flight stand. The clamp on the other hand does not work for shit. What they should do is put some screws into the clamp so it could actually hold things. Other than that, it doesn't. He does come with these 3 pieces of plastic. They are all molded in clear plastic, and each one does something different to port the effects either on the figure or onto the flight stand. There is this really cool swooshing effect. It is molded in clear plastic with some white frosty paint at the front of it, and it is a really nice sculpt. It is quite brittle, however, so I would be really careful with that when porting it onto the figure. To put the effect on, you do want to take the hand off and then slide the effect onto his wrist, and then you do want to port the hand back on. Once you do all that, it looks fantastic. I do like the swooshing effect that is wrapped around his hand. Again, it is brittle and pointy, so I will be careful. And finally, the last accessory is this really cool punching effect. It has a nice sculpt throughout. It is asymmetrical. The line work throughout does make it look very anime. It is a nice clear plastic with nice frosty white paint. It can be used for many different poses, such as punching the air, or even punching the ground effect, or a taking off effect. Now, to use the effect, what you are going to want to do is grab the long plastic piece, port the peg into the hole, and then port the flight stand into one of the two holes. You can use it like that, or grab the other clear piece, port it into the other hole, and then wrap it around the thigh. This piece does fit perfectly around the thigh piece, and it is obviously used to hold the figure up while using the flight stand. Altogether, it is really nice, really good, and holds fantastic. And now let's take a closer look at the figure. This is the head sculpt that is on him out of the packaging. It is just a neutral looking straightforward face. The head sculpt is the exact same as all the others, just a smooth bald head. The white paint at the collar is nice and clean. You do have a nice silver metallic paint for the zipper, and the wrinkles throughout the torso are nicely sculpted. If you push the butterfly joint all the way back, you do get some gappage, so be careful with that. The arms do have some pretty good definition, nothing too crazy. The shoulders are your standard amazing Yamaguchi shoulders, which do look weird, but the articulation is good. The gloves are also a nice molded red plastic. The wrinkles throughout are also quite nice, and I do like the shininess of the gloves compared to the rest of the body. Now up here on the cape, there is some nice silver dots to emulate the cape being wrapped around his neck. It is a sculpted piece of plastic that does kind of clash with the cloth wired fabric cape. There's this nice gold on the belt buckle, and the rest of the belt does have some nice texture. The legs do have some nice definition, and obviously the wrinkles throughout are nice, as well as some seam lines running along the inner and outer part of the legs. Now when you bend the knee, you do get this weird kind of flap, which for a character that's wearing a skin tight suit is kind of weird. The boots are a nice molded red plastic. The sculpt is also nice. They also have a shine compared to the rest of the suits, and you do have the black paint at the bottom of the feet. As for the back of the figure, it is pretty much the same as the front. The nice wrinkles, the divots, the butt sculpt is quite flat. You do have a lot of wrinkles in the lower torso, which, you know, makes sense, I guess. Now the cape is a bright white and has a wire running along the two sides as well as the bottom, which means you can pose it whichever way you want, which is the whole point of a cloth wired cape. And this one in particular is executed perfectly. As for the articulation, you do have a joint at the top and bottom, which can swivel. You do get nice pivot going left to right, as well as a good movement up and down. The collar piece is on a ball joint. The shoulders can move all the way up as well as rotate. You do have a really nice butterfly joint that can move this far forward as well as this far back. There is a bicep swivel, a single jointed elbow that does move 45 degrees, and there is a ball joint at one of the connection points which allows you to push it and move it all the way. The wrists are on ball hinges, so they can be configured whichever way you like. He does have a joint at the top and bottom, which obviously allows you to rotate, and you do get a nice pivot going right to left, as well as a nice crunch back and a beautiful crunch forward. The hips do move out a really fantastic amount. The legs can move back this much and forward 90 degrees. Now do be careful with the thigh pieces. They do tend to come off really easily, especially at least on mine, the right leg, but it is easy enough to just port it back on. You do have a thigh swivel, and with the hip joint you could move the leg all the way and even past a natural point to make it look like it's broken. The single jointed knee does move a really good amount. The boot does swivel because there is a Revoltech joint that moves back and forth, and if you use both the knee and the boot, you can literally make him squat all the way. The boots can pretty much move all the way back, and a decent amount forward. There is also toe articulation that can move up as well as down. And finally, there is a beautiful ankle pivot. Now let's compare them to your average body molds, starting with the Hasbro Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man, a McFarlane Toys Batman, a Diamond Select Toys Bruce Lee, a NECA God of War Kratos, a SH Figuarts Kaioken Goku, and finally an amazing Yamaguchi Deadpool. Now, what are my thoughts on this figure? It is a really good piece. I am personally excited to have this in my collection. Cannot wait for the others in the line. They've already, I believe Genos is actually out already, and they have like 3-4 others that are prototypes. So this is a line I will probably go pretty deep in because I do like the designs. However, I've only seen the first episode of season 3, and from what it sounds like it's not a good season. So hopefully that does not affect the figures, because I still want some other characters that they could do. Hopefully they start doing females such as Fubuki Tamaki, I believe that's his name. Now, is this figure worth the price of about $100? I will say it kind of is and it kind of isn't. $100 is quite expensive, but you do get that great amount of articulation, and he does come with what I think every Yamaguchi figure should come with: a good amount of accessories, 6 extra heads, a few different effects, and some pretty cool other accessories as well. Now, there was an extra head sculpt if you did buy it directly from the Amazing Yamaguchi store, which is all in Japanese, so it's not like you can even read it, and it's like I think $10 to $20 more, so it's like and the head sculpt for this one was like him, you know, like a derpy face, you could say, which wouldn't really work because his body is quite muscular, versus when he goes derpy, his body's more thin. So in this case, I don't mind it because they included 6 other head sculpts. But if you're a fan of One Punch Man, I do highly recommend this figure. I don't really see another company doing One Punch Man figures, especially since season 3 does not sound like it's gonna be any good, sadly. I know Figma did Genos and Saitama a long time ago, but Figma only does like 2-3 characters per line, and I don't see Figuarts ever getting this license, so this would be your one and only chance to get One Punch Man figures. So I'm all in, cannot wait for the others. Now fuck off.